Hey guys, it's Arcade and I'm back with another video, and in this one I'm gonna turn Mozart into a future bounce banger. So yeah, the first thing I wanna do is get the sample for Mozart so I can use it, and that brings me to tracklib.com, which is probably the only site where you can legally license samples of thousands of songs. Some of them are really popular and some of them less known. So let's actually go to tracks, search for Mozart, and I actually want this Alla Turca song, and there we have it, Mozart and his song Alla Turca. You can actually buy it for like $2, use it in your song, and then if you want to release that song you can buy the license, and the license for this song costs $50. So yeah, that's pretty crazy that you can actually legally use sample of Mozart for around $50. So this is the song I'm gonna sample and kind of remix overall. I'm sure you already know it. So yeah, I already downloaded the song, so make sure to check out Tracklib. It's actually free to sign up, and if you use the link below, you'll get some free stuff as well. Also, they always have like one free song that you can just download for free. But yeah, make sure to check it out, link will be below in the description. Now let's get cracking with the sample. So here I am in FL Studio with the sample, and first thing I want to do is cut it up. So I only want the first part of the sample. So let's just get that, and I'm using the slice tool right here to make the slices, and then just deleting it by right clicking on the parts I don't need. So now to make some kind of a rhythm, we can just manually slice it up, and just like this. Maybe we can extend it so we see it better. And as you can see, this doesn't really fit to the BPM as well as it should, and that's gonna happen with some of the songs. And in this case, what we can do is cut it up like we want, and then use the stretch function to stretch out the samples. But anytime you use the stretch function, make sure you select the cut you made, click on it, and make unique a sample. Save it, then select the stretch option, hold Alt key, and just stretch it out so it lines up with the beat. And then just use the same one. And afterwards, make sure to deselect the stretch option and continue editing your sample. And after a while of doing this with the stretch function, cutting the samples, this is what I ended up with. So this is a little looped melody I created using the sample, and as you can hear, it's not perfect, there are some clicks, but they are gonna get lost in the whole mix once we add other sounds. But if you want to get rid of those, you can actually double click the sample, choose mode, and do smooth bleeding, and then the clicks should be faded out. But I don't really need that in this case, so we can keep it as it was. I also decided to put the whole beginning of the track in the beginning of our song, just to kind of set the mood to the Mozart vibe. Anyways, so that's pretty much it for our sample. Now let's move on to the other sounds. So in the breakdown, I'm using this pad. It's a really basic silent sound, just a saw wave and sine wave, and then I played with the cutoff. Then I have this break bass, which is a really deep bass from Nexus. I also included some sweeps and claps. Mostly from Kashmir's pack, and altogether it sounds like this. And that's our breakdown. Now let's move on to the build-up. In the build-up, I created this funny riser. Mozart would be proud. Or probably not. Anyway, so that's the riser, kind of a riser. Basically, I loop the sample. Then we have this long build-up fill. It's also from Kashmir's pack. If you want to get that, check out Splice. Link will be below in the description as well. Hit it with some impact sounds on the beginning of the build-up. And also, the pad I used in the breakdown slowly fades away here. Then in the second part, I also used this little effect, which is just a synth shot, reversed, and then I automate the volume of it like so. If you want to do that, just right click the end and choose wave. And then you pretty much have this wave-shaped automation clip. Creates a nice effect. So in the second part of the build-up, I started introducing some melodies. Here we use this Whistler plugin, which is free and it's just this sound. Then we have this sound from Nexus called Analog Plug. And then I also introduced the sounds from the drop using an EQ automation clip. So basically, I automated the EQ like so. And that's it for the build-up. At the end of it, we have this fill. So the whole build-up sounds like this. Now of course for the drop. So for the drums, I go with really basic kick and a clap and a little offbeat hi-hat. To make this hi-hat offbeat, just go to piano roll and hold Alt key while you move it from the original grid point just slightly off. I'm also using this pre-shifted clap, which gives a nice crunchy feel to the whole beat. And that's pretty much it for the drums. Then we have the main bass. So I stay true to the bass from the original, which is just A and then E. Those are the main chords in the beginning. So this is what I ended up with. And then to E. This is the rhythm I created. For the sounds I'm using Serum and I have a few layers. This one, which is pretty quiet, then this one, which is kind of the main sound. It's from Freedom, from Team ABL. Then we have the sub bass. Just a really cool, deep sub bass. That's pretty much it for the bass. As far as the effects go, I deleted the low frequencies from the upper layers of the bass and boosted the high frequencies. The upper layers are these two. I also put sound goodies on it just to kind of make it more compressed. And then for the lower bass, of course, we keep the low frequencies there. But it's actually sidechained with LFO tool. So that's the bass. Then we have the piano, which only comes in a few times. And it's a Nexus preset called Piano Layer 1 from the Future House pack. And for the effects, I also deleted the low frequencies and boosted the high frequencies. With the bass, it sounds like this. And then we have the main melody, which was a lot of fun to play with. We have a few sounds from Silent, and for the most part, I used packs from Team ABL. So here is what we got here. So making the melody, I wanted to stick to the original Alla Turca melody from Mozart, but when you create future bounce, you cannot really use the same notes exactly because it's just not gonna sound good. That's meant for piano, but I try to stick to the base of the melody. So we have dun, then dun, and it just continues pretty much the same as the original, but the rhythm is completely different. So yeah, you can hear the resemblance, I'm sure. So the sounds I'm using is this lead, then this lead, which is more fuller lead and more white noisy and distorted, then this lead, which is super white noisy, and then this lead as well, which is like this fart noise pitched up high, and together they sound like this. And one interesting thing I did to these leads is I used volume automation. So for the effects on the leads, we have a bunch of reverb, pretty high amount actually, then sound wizard to just make them more powerful, stereo shaper to make them more separate in the mix, and then I deleted the low frequencies and just EQ'd it a little bit to fit the song better. And those are the effects, but I also automated this volume right here, as you can see right now. And what this does, it actually deletes the reverb or any decay from the sound or any release from the sound when we lower the volume. So then it's more stuttery. Instead of having this huge reverb playing throughout the whole melody, there are some breaks where the melody is basically 100% quiet. As you can see, even here, without it, it would be like this, which kind of loses the groovy rhythm, because with this you have more of this groovy rhythm instead of these long notes. So I really recommend using this trick. Nesto actually used it in one of his videos, and that's where I got it from. And I'm also using this effect again to sometimes fill out some of the spaces to make it more interesting. And that's pretty much it for the melody. Then in the second part I support it with these sounds from Nexus. It's Cosmic Pluck and Aluminium. And basically I just support some of the notes, not all of them, with that sound. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the first part of the drop. And then as a fill, I include a little sample from the original. And then in the second part of the drop, we continue with the same melody, but I actually add some drop claps, a hi-hat loop, and some rides as well. It's always good to save those sounds for the second part of the drop, so the whole song kind of gradually gets more intense and better. Also in the second part of the drop, I change up the bass and I use different chords. So therefore I change the piano as well. And also at the beginning I have a little break in between the first and the second part of the drop. Just so there's some sort of a hint that says, yeah, this is the second part of the drop. It sounds like this. And then I end this with a fill, again from the original track. And then we have this crazy part that I just kind of made for fun, but I think it kind of works. And basically, I keep the bass, but I add this piano loop melody we created at the beginning. And also this effect. And all together, it sounds like this. And then I just end it with an impact. And that's pretty much it for the whole song. It's not that complicated when you explain it. We basically have the bass and the main leads, and we play around with the volume of the leads in the drop, basic drums, and some little effects in between. And that's kind of what this song consists of. And of course, the sample from the original to keep it fresh and interesting. Now I'm gonna show you the whole result. Enjoy! Alright guys, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun and I think the result is pretty good. Make sure to check out Tracklip if you are interested in sampling. A lot of big artists are using it and you can too. As I said before, it's free to sign up and then you can just browse through the music. And yeah, other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.